Hey, what's up, guys? I think I went over Robotech Art 1. I might as well go over at least a little Robotech Art 2. I obviously got this at a used bookstore at some point. I don't remember when. Right, new illustrations and original art from Robotech. Now, looking at this, in some ways, you could say a lot of the art in this is sort of like fan art, which is something you'd see in a fanzine. Perhaps not something you'd want to see in a published book. But to be fair, many of these artists in the independent press at the time, remember this is August 1987, you had some pretty talented artists who were being published. In particular, Colleen Doran, very, very talented artist. She did Distant Soil, very, very detailed work. But overall, when looking through this, you sort of see a very, very, I would say, feminine or dominant sort of aspect of, you know, these animations, this series cobbled from three different animated series. You get a very feminine sort of reaction to it. Now, of course, some of the artists are women, but overall, you start to see a weird disconnect. Of course, the Japanese stuff is always interesting. The way the masculine and the feminine are balanced. You have a lot of androgynous characters and whatnot, to a degree. You think of someone like Camille, excuse me, Camille Paglia's works on it, but in terms of the actual book, I don't know how I'd feel back in the day if I had spent $13 on it, or if I was in Canada spending almost a 20, right, for essentially some of the work here. Some of it's I would say a little amateurish. Obviously this is not Leela Dowling. I sort of remember her. Obviously Trina Robbins. There's, like I said, the whole idea was, well, this was had a lot of female fans, right? Which is fine. But like I said, I'm just going through the work. Here's Colleen Doran's artwork. It's interesting. The biggest artist in this, the person who went on to be probably the biggest artist of anybody in this, was Tim Sale. Remember and he's no longer with us. Rest in peace. Of course, he did a lot of work with Batman. I think I wonder if this is painted, but like I said, some of this stuff is, like I said, Mike Leake. Remember him? He did the Macross art, the saga. He also went on to do Elementals with Bill Willingham, but I don't know what he's doing now. He was actually really good too. Obviously, Colleen did a lot of the artwork, and it's kind of funny looking in the intro here, right? When they talk about this, they decided to do this project. Certain Robotech characters had a lot of appeal, right? The Macross Saga characters were all very popular, of course. You received many pictures of Rick Hunter, Lin Min May, the Sterling family, Danish Sterling, Zor Prime, Musica, Nova Satori. It's just surprising. Nova shows up a lot. I didn't really think that Nova was a huge character. So, of course, you know me, I love Marie Crystal, but we had to call a halt to portraits of Lancer, right? When we reached the new generation, Robotech's first cross-dressing rock and roll freedom fighter intrigued everyone. And nearly everyone wanted to draw him. Right, some artists like Colleen Doran, of course, seemed intent on building a complete portfolio of Lancer illustrations until we had to cry no more. Now, if you know her work, Distant Soul, you have a lot of things in that, a lot of androgynous males in that, and I always thought it was interesting when you get to the section here, to give her credit, right? I don't know if she's still doing art now. I don't know if she ever finished the Distant Soul. That means nothing to you, but obviously also you had to put some cells in here. Remember the Kung Fu movie? Lin Kyle is... yeah. Min May. There you go. Oh, remember that sad Min May. Anyway, right, Haruhiko Mikimoto. But obviously the art. It's all about the art here. So yeah, Colleen did a lot of Lancer. Obviously, this is a riff on the the live Pit In. The fake live album they made, which I still think is on YouTube. Of course, like Paper Dolls. I know, this is sort of like, what the hell is this? Well, you're sort of looking at the future. I do give Colleen credit, though. She never drew Lancer as Yellow Dancer. Never drew him as a woman. Always as a man in the end. I thought that was an interesting touch. Yeah, my late fiance, she actually liked Paper Dolls. She actually did stuff like that. But she could draw her own. Yeah. Obviously, yeah, I prefer the Paper Soldiers, but yeah, a lot of whatever. I mean, take it as you will. When this stuff meets the West, you already have a decadent West, so you're gonna have a very feminine sort of domination of it. Okay, which is ironic now when you look at things around us. Although nobody, nobody thought of disgusting obese. What do you call them? They thems would actually be what you have. That would be the androgyny you have. Soy boys and they thems. No one thought it would be like that back then, would they? Now we know. And just finishing out, obviously you have a lot of the cells. I thought this was interesting. I believe this was during the post thing here, right? Keep our peace. Oh, you misspelled it, Japanese. Kill the war, right? That was funny. Yeah, macro saga. Yeah, it was. I love the Southern Cross, but like I said, this series was very unpopular in Japan. Yeah, I guess they fit like extra concept art, of course, more speeder. Anyway, finish it off, and they had, just like in the last one, they had a kind of interesting development of. The last one was anime. This is the idea of robots. Okay, so they bring up everything from the old Czech communist play, right? RUR, right? What is that? The Rossum's Universal Robots. Obviously, some communist work here. They also bring up the old pre-war Japanese comic, the Great War, right? Tanku Tankuro. There's a robot fighting for the glory of Japan. Of course, post-war Osamu Tezuka, right? Astro Boy. I mean, this is stuff that this is stuff I know. I don't know if you all know this, but yeah, the idea of robots. Eventually, the robots go from being sentient to remote controlled, and of course, the great. You know me, I love going to guy stuff, right? As you can see, an Italian cutout book, right? Huge. I tell you, like I say it again, Italy, they were all about the giant robots. Okay, they were translating all these robot series back in the 70s. And of course, eventually, like I said with the last one, Gundam, right? Gundam takes it to another level. It makes it a war story between humans, where the robots are just weapons. They're very vulnerable, right? I like how the main goal of animated programs was to sell toys at any cost. Well, maybe, but they were able to have great stories too. Of course, Gundam I've gone over before, groundbreaking. And I'll leave it on this note, at least with this. Hopefully, giant warrior robots will never be built and used for war. But in the future, we can be sure robots will be doing far more than simply turning bolts on assembly lines. Right? Will they look humanoid? Right? All this. Now, obviously, I'm not going to bring up AI. God knows what that's going to rot. Most likely, it's going to not even be Terminator. It's just going to be more power that humans wield on other humans with technology. But in terms of robots for warfare, you can argue that has happened. As you can see with drone warfare. Drone warfare has been a great equalizer between smaller nations. nations with larger weaponry. Once again, the poor tank is the whipping boy. They seem to be mostly, unless they have really sophisticated electronic jamming equipment, drones seem to be really taking a toll on the tank. Perhaps retiring this archaic, century-old weapon for good. But yeah, drones. No one thought of that. Nobody thought about the drones. Right? We're that much closer to a very dark future. But regardless, we can look at the time when there was some optimism, you could say. And they do little things of the artists here. Right? Obviously, yeah, the different artists. Yeah, whatever happened to Mike Leake, man? I wonder if he's still doing stuff. Of course, Doug Rice, Dynamo Joe, the Star Blazers stuff. And there's Tim Sale. And what is that to end here? Oh, hey, right, for fall of '86, Robotech the Sentinels. That never happened. So, but I will see where Robotech is at in the current year of 2024. I don't even know when a Robotech. What I believe there's probably already friggin' new generation by that time, but could it be Southern Cross?